All right, guys, I'm going to talk to you a little bit uh, about a few things from a non-boxing related standpoint, the stuff you all need to know. This is going to be a story, but you all need to hear it. In a way, it does relate back to boxing because everything relates back to the fight game in one way or another. And the wokeism in this is going to relate to boxing as it does relate, as we've been experiencing this in the U.S. and in World Olympic boxing and world championships and whatnot. So just bear with me. I want to talk about USAID, USAID. Just hang on here. You want to listen to this. Back some years ago, not going to mention the country. Country names will not be mentioned here because I fear retribution. But you all should be able to add 2 plus 2 and figure that out right quick. Some years ago, I was somewhere in a big city in a foreign country. And there was a social services food bank, a government-sponsored food bank. I had a friend that was, and that's who I went down there with, was a friend who had the contract to paint the building. They were repainting the building. So I get invited in the building and I start looking and I start seeing massive tonnage, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands actually of pounds in tonnage of all this product. And it says, a gift from the American people, and in bold letters, USAID. So I'm in there and I'm looking, and I see over in the back corner is a massive warehouse. It's like a super Walmart type deal. Real massive. Really massive. Bigger than a super Walmart. Well, the retail space anyway. If you add the warehouse, the stock space of a super Walmart, it's about the size, maybe bigger, this building. And I see over in the back corner, so I have no idea why they're painting this place with this going on. The roof up in the back corner is gone. And tonnage, and tonnage, and tonnage. And I walk up to verify with my own eyes of USAID product is back in this corner. Tonnage, and when I say corner, the corner would be, I don't know, almost the size of a football field. This is a huge building. And the water coming in and all this wasted, molded product. So I'm pissed at that point, beyond being upset. So start looking around, and there's on the opposite corner than the corner where all the wasted product is, and all this is USAID. I walked the whole thing. I was in there an hour and a half, hour and 20 minutes walking this place, looking, because after all, this came from the parasite sucking the working blood out of me as well, and 300 million more of my brothers and sisters of all colors and varieties back in the U.S. Their blood got sucked out by these parasites as well, just bleeding the works blood out of people and doing this with this stuff. And this is going to get worse, so just hang on. So I start looking around, and then I see opposite the corner that's messed up on the other corner of the building. As I'm looking, you see a docking area, like a normal warehouse docking area where big trucks can pull into. And I'm seeing little restaurant trucks pull up. And I look, and I'm actually standing there watching cash exchange hands from workers in the facility that had all this USAID product, selling it to these restaurant trucks, big restaurant trucks, by the way, all sorts of things. In fairness and in being open, I couldn't tell what most of this product was, what was, but it was all marked USAID. And so, and there were just many, many different products, flour, uh, refrigerated product, just everything. So I'm seeing all this, and my blood's boiling more and more. So when I got back to the USA, I was like, what the hell is this going on? And they openly tell me, well, we sell a lot of the product to restaurants. And we're able to sell to restaurants at a cheaper price than they could get from wholesalers. So, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, do the restaurants I'm asking, does the restaurants give the food away? No, these are just regular, normal restaurants. They sell the food. And I'm like, some bitch. And they're just openly telling me this. They're not hiding a thing. They don't care. They ain't hiding nothing. So, try to call, Obama was in office at the time. I forget the guy's name, but he was a former ambassador to Iraq. So they stuck the creme de la creme into this country. And the best and the brightest, the Secretary of State, Department of State had. So I tried to get in touch with this guy to let him know what's going on. They won't let me contact him. Went to the embassy. Since they wouldn't put me in contact with him. Went to the embassy. And let me tell you what happened. The little pretty figured and pretty faced blonde girl comes out, and she tells the exterior guards, which are Colombian police actually, they weren't the guards, they were the police that do the most outer perimeter of the embassy in Bogota. And I'm out there because I'm trying to get in. I'm like, you got anybody else to talk? We don't deal with stuff like that, is what they're telling me when I'm trying to get in the embassy. And you have to wait in a mile-long line to even get to get up to see if they'll let you in, ridiculous inefficiency. And Americans don't get to go to the front of the line. The Americans typically are put at the back of the line. So you need to learn what's going on with your government, because this TV fantasy BS is not true. It's not true at all. So And it's this ambassador, I can't remember his name, but if you go back to 2008, 9, 10, you'll see that this ambassador was a holdover from the Bush administration, if I'm not mistaken. But I believe he was holdover from Bush as well. So Obama had this guy in and he wanted to keep him there. So, because he was the best and the brightest, the most on the ball with it. So, which shows you the class of people we have working in government. So, they won't let me in. So I'm like, I'm not going nowhere. I'll stay out here. So I'm out there and I just start walking back and forth and back and forth. I don't have a sign up or nothing, but so it ain't like I'm in huge protest. All of a sudden, the news come to talk to me. What's this guy doing standing here walking back and forth at the exterior of the embassy? So I start telling them. So the FBI woman comes out and orders the captain of the guards, regular police, I done gave away where I was at, regular police, that they needed to get rid of me. I had a backpack with me, and the first thing they were saying were, you just kick him out of here, run him off, or arrest him. And she volunteers to the captain of the guards. You can just say he had something in his backpack, or you fear something was in his backpack. You know, the B word, bomb. But thank God, the captain of the guard immediately come to me and warned me, and he said, I can't believe your nation. This is insane. And this is all trying to expose USAID fraud, not just waste, fraud, criminal felonious activity. And I'm going to shorten this story up because it did run. I'd take 3 hours telling you every single thing. So anyway, end up staying there a few days, and they wouldn't let me see nobody. So I leave, and I go to Washington. Now, when I returned to Washington, Obama had just been elected into office not long. Bush may have been in office when I went to the embassy. As a matter of fact, he was. And by the time I got back to the U.S., Obama was in office. This was happening during an election period. Or Obama was the president-elect. That's what was going on, but hadn't had taken office yet. So I go back to the U.S. and we start having this Occupy, or people do, not me, start having this Occupy Wall Street events. So they're up there protesting, and I said, you know what? This would be the perfect time to go up to Washington. I can take a tent with me, go and get on Freedom Plaza where all these people are. I can go, because, you know, I'm under the assumption I could go in the Ronald Reagan building, which houses USAID, and I can find out what all this Occupy stuff is. Well, it turns out I was a better operative than a senior FBI agent could have ever been, because they're filled with idiots too. Idiots. This thing we keep saying, oh, well, most of them are good. No, most of them are bad, and there are a few good ones in there. It's not a few bad apples in the crate. There's a few good apples in the bushel. And you need to reverse your thinking to get your mind straight to know what's going on around you and how you're being screwed. Uh, Getting into war, all sorts of stuff, sabotaging the economy, all these wars that getting into over lies created by our own side. Everything is filthy, disgusting, and satanic in U.S. government, and has been for a long time. So I go up there, I start mingling with these people. So first day, I go over to the Ronald Reagan building, which houses USAID, and I tell them I've got a list here, I've got evidence, I've got this, that, and it's stuff that I had at the time. And I said, I want to go in and talk to somebody that oversees this or investigates things here. I need to get to a need to know person. They won't let me in. You just do it online. See, that's where the online thing has killed and helped the bureaucracy be more powerful to hurt you and me, because you can never get to a person. Well, I went back over to Freedom Plaza, which is right near there, right there. And I told some people, hey, I'm trying to get in there and they won't let me in. And they were like, we're going to get a group of us together and we're going to go over there and start raising hell right outside of the building. So go back, go in, ask the guard again, and we're going to be outside raising hell, asking that they let them see you. Because most of the people out there, people were pissed off, but they didn't know the groups that were there sponsoring these people, who was paying for it, or anything of the nature. They were just pissed off Americans that were there. And you have to keep in mind, we had the housing market crash and the economy crash of 2008. We were right in it. So there was a lot of pissed off people that had done lost everything they had. So we go back over there. I go in first, and then they're right behind me, because basically we're just going up a little bit and crossing the street from Freedom Plaza where all these people were. And so I go over there and I tell them, you're going to have to drag me out of here kicking and screaming. Someone needs to talk to me. And they were like, we told you we're not going to let you in. And then I said, look out there. And there's probably 40 to 60 people that had got together and came over there with me, and they're outside yelling and fist pumping and got all the crazy signs they had and things for different issues. And they let me in to see somebody. So I did that, and lo and behold, someone took me in the office, and I'm telling you right now, it was a overweight black lady whom did not communicate well enough to actually work in a fast food restaurant, sitting in that office, couldn't even hardly get her fat butt out of the chair. And another lady had to take me in. She said she can't get up. She's whatever. Didn't say, well, she's as big as a whale and can't get up. So I go in there, I sit down, I tell the story. Well, here's where it gets worse. I leave and I go outside and nobody's there. None of the people that came and raised the cane to get me in there are out there. And I wasn't in there 12 to 16 minutes maybe with that woman. So I'm like, where did everybody go? So I walked back over there, and then one of the organizers of the Occupy Wall Street, they said, this guy wants to talk to you. I'm like, well, where is he? And of course, he wasn't on site. A couple of guys walked me down to where he was at, and they've got little spaces rented. And you know, the rent in Washington is crazy. They got little spaces where they have banners, food, water, all this stuff. And it's interesting to note, these Occupy Wall Street people were eating like kings up there. All these people, they pitched their tents, got congregated in several groups in several parks, and they're eating like kings. And it had dawned on me right at the beginning, well, where are these people getting all this money for this? You know, so I go up and the guy talks to me and he tells me point blank, I am a Marxist. I am a Marxist. And you should be a good Marxist too. Talking to me like we're in communist Russia. And he tells me I would have never let any of these people, like he could control anybody really, which he had some control because he got the people out of there, but he didn't tell them why. But he told me why. Uh, he said, you can go anywhere and protest anything in this city, but over there at USAID, you can't go, or you have to get away from us because that's where we get our money from. So USAID was funneling money into these non-governmental organizations of Marxists, which sponsored and put all that filth and all that trouble on the streets of Washington itself, was basically sponsored by USAID, giving these Marxists the money to protest our own government. And I've got way more information. I've just tried to paraphrase this story to you guys, but I've got Dylan's. So I go back to this country. I'm not going to say the name again. I'm so scared of retribution because we're there right now. And I go back to that building. It was 2 years later, if I'm not mistaken. Holes still in the roof. Threw all that money in the garbage can for that friend of mine to go in there and paint because it's just corruption. Oh, yeah, we'll sling money at you to paint because you got the connection. We'll send money to you to put new windows in here because you got the connection. But the damn hole in the roof was still there, and rotting shit was still up in that corner. And restaurant trucks were still in and out. Nothing. Zero done. USAID has to be shut down, folks. It's got to be shut down. They are providing money for many counter U.S. government insurgencies that happen daily inside of Washington, D.C. And the majority of these Democrats are full-blown Marxist. And that's why they're out in front of the Capitol or in front of USAID, the Ronald Reagan building yesterday. The Democrats screaming and shouting bloody murder. This is going to stop little Juan from getting rice tomorrow. None of that could be further from the truth. It is a corrupt entanglement in government, but it goes further. And I don't have the confidence in Marco Rubio that a lot of you have. I think that's the only pick Trump's done so far that I think was an awful pick. And I hope, I've met Marco before, I hope that he proves me wrong. But I think he is one, I don't want to call him a bad name, but I think he's one of the establishment guys there already. And I think that's why he got the 100% of the vote, which is unprecedented because everybody knows he would continue as usual. And my warning to Trump would be watch him. Watch him. Trust but verify. with him. All the other picks, they're going to do great. They are going to do great. So I just wanted to share this with you. USAID does need to go. We don't need, I'll do something on the migrant situation and deportation because my views are different from my party. And I am one of my party. I have been multiple times a party chairman. I put $800 against $619,000 years ago in my home state and came within a couple of thousand votes of de-sitting uh, a congressman with that much money. I know what I see, and I've been able to, over the years, communicate really good with people. And I won the confidence with no money of thousands of people. And I've been repeatedly asked by my party to run for governor of my home state. And really, if I had the funds and had the money, I probably would do it. But my dream now is to go home, get my son home, get involved in the house cleaning in Boxing USA, the USA's Olympic deal in amateur boxing, try to get it cleaned up because that's where I believe I could do the most good. And I'm not a man of great means, so I don't have if I was a billionaire right now or even a millionaire, I'd be running all over the place. But spread this, think about this, tell people this, because you're going to hear all these they're not going to get rice. Oh, they're going to die. No, you are going to die if you allow USAID to continue to harm you as an American citizen. And that's the bottom line. So I want to finish this by saying, as I normally do, Jesus Christ is King, Savior, and our Lord up in this house. And if he ain't in yours, I hope he becomes that.